So my video on Samuel Leeds is up there with the most watched videos on my channel. It's still doing really good to this day now. But have I been fair to him? Because the truth is, when I first started my property investing journey back in 2018, 6 years ago, Samuel Leeds and the Property Podcast were up there. They were by far and away up there. They were my top 2 most watched property content when I was trying to learn about what property investing is, how to do it. And I learned a lot and I was inspired a lot by both of them. I was inspired by Samuel Leeds and what he does as part of his crash course and the content that he's got out there, especially on YouTube and on his Instagram and on his TikTok. But like anything in life, the longer you're in something and the longer you spend time doing something, your opinions change over time, right? And my opinion has changed on Samuel Leeds, and that's normal, right? As critical thinking, intelligent people, your opinions do naturally change on different things over time. And I've done digging into Samuel Leeds and, you know, his persona and what other people say about him out there on the internet. And the top complaints seem to center quite heavily around him being a scammer. This relates to the courses that he runs. He runs a crash course. He runs the Samuel Leeds crash course, and the opinions are really varied. Some people say that they get a lot from it and that it's excellent. Other people at the other end of the scale say that it's overpriced. People get conned out of a lot of money and the content really isn't that good, okay? Are these fair? And today I want to discuss whether we can find some counter arguments to give Samuel Leeds more of a fairer shot, right? Because let's be honest, there is a lot of content out on the internet really just going in on him, right? He's had a whole documentary on him on the BBC, Channel 4, Channel 5. I really did not paint him in a good light. But today, little old me going to do a bit of a deep dive on whether we should be taking another look at Samuel Leeds from a different angle and ask ourselves the question as to whether he is legit, whether what he's doing is actually benefiting people out there, and whether we should, you know, reconsider actually consuming his content. So to do this, I'm going to do it via a structured approach. I'm going to ask 3 main questions. So first of all, do we need what Samuel Leeds teaches? Do you need what I teach? When it comes to content that's out there on the internet, it's going to do one of 3 things, right? I learned this really early when I was setting up this YouTube channel and my other socials. You can either educate people, entertain people, or inspire them. Is he doing one of those things, 2 of those things, or all 3? We'll answer that. Secondly, what does Samuel Leeds actually teach, okay? Because that can get lost in the size and the orbit of his actual personality. Samuel Leeds, and I say this all the time, is an excellent salesman. If I was setting up a business that had a sales element and I needed one person that I could employ to come work for me, I'd choose Samuel Leeds. This guy knows how to sell ice to an Eskimo. He's great at it. But what does he actually teach? And then lastly, number 3, is how does he teach it? What are his methods that he uses to teach what he does? And I think if we follow that structure, we'll come to a decent conclusion at the end. So first of all, do we need what Samuel Leeds teaches? And this is actually linked to number 2, which is what does Samuel Leeds teach? Let's go to his profile that he himself has put out there for the thousands to see, and what it is that he actually wants to sell to you and to me. So let's start with his actual website. There's no better place to start than this. So you've got lovely picture of Mr. Leeds there, and you can see the landing page is rent to rent crash course, right? So if I am a businessman and I'm selling you a product and I have a website, where you land is where I want to put what it is that I want to sell to you, give to you, that I want you to take away, okay? So he is promoting right up front the rent to rent crash course. Now, what is rent to rent, okay? If you don't know what rent to rent is, check out my video here. Really helpful breakdown of what it is and the pros and cons of it. But essentially, rent to rent is that you are approaching landlords who own a property, usually distressed landlords. So distressed means that they might be old and looking to retire, and essentially they're trying to either get out of property altogether or make it as hands-off as possible, low effort. So you approach them, you say to them, look, I know you're a distressed landlord, you don't really want to be in property, or you really want to reduce the amount of time and effort that it takes you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay you a fixed sum of X per month, and you're going to get this amount from me regardless of whether the property is tenanted or not. I'm going to guarantee to pay you this rent, let's call it a rent, every month for the next year, 3 years, 5 years. And in return, you give me control of your property. And with your property, I am going to do either, and it's usually either service accommodation, so Airbnb, booking.com, etc., or a HMO. And the idea is that the money that you make from service accommodation or HMO is going to be greater than the fixed rent that you're paying to the landlord. So he gets that amount and you keep the difference in between. That is rent to rent in a nutshell. Now, Samuel Leeds wants you to come on his crash course that you can see on screen here and learn all about that. We can see here that he's saying claim your tickets for £1. So good old sales tactic there. Learn how to make thousands or even tens of thousands a month. Tens of thousands a month, okay, without even owning property. So that is basically him in a nutshell in terms of what he's selling you. He's also got tour dates, great. He's got an academy, so coaching and mentoring. Some quick look. The academy, why join? It's an exclusive environment, 12 months coaching, mentoring and support. You can become a successful property entrepreneur. And I guess these are all the offerings. A lot of Samuel Leeds on there. Weekly clubs, academy only, deal analysis, etc., etc. There is also online training. Let's have a quick look at what. Okay, so BRRR. Deal selling, HMOs, he's got a board game, that's Samuel Leeds Monopoly, and some free resources. Everybody loves a bit of free resources. And let's have a quick look at it about in the news. So a lot of promotional stories about how he has basically taken people from the brink or even in debt and depression. So very emotive stuff. He was in debt and he was in depression. How bad can life be? And he's turned him into a guy that's got a growing property portfolio. Again, tugging on the emotional engagement in his eyes. Miserable bloke, took £500 and became a millionaire. Okay. Pants to riches. Visually impaired teens on a mission to become property millionaires. So you can see a theme there in terms of how he's selling himself and promoting this crash course. People in bad situations, he takes them, they go on this crash course. Okay, that's the important part. And then they become millionaires or they have a growing property portfolio. They're successful, essentially. So that's the formula that he's selling. And let's also take a look at his YouTube channel, right? What kind of content does he make? So Skeptical Man makes 10K a month in property. Hiring random people in the streets are kind of like undercover millionaire type vibes. Best property strategy, stuff about mortgages. So that's a guy making 18K a month on council properties. Giving away land in Africa. Okay. That looks like kind of like a Jubilee style video there. Predicting strangers' salaries in 60 seconds. Okay, so there's a mix of content. It's not just Samuel Leeds selling his crash course here. I mean, he has got a lot of interviews on here with people that he has, you know, made successful. But, you know, he's got some variation on his YouTube channel. Let's look at his bio. Samuel Leeds is the best-selling author, TV person. He's known by many of the UK's most inspiring property entrepreneur. He's really humble. And he points you to his socials and his website that we've just seen. And then let's just have a quick look at his Instagram. So, yeah, he's telling you where he's been, pointing you to his website, which is where he's selling the rent-to-rent courses. And then lastly, let's have a look at his LinkedIn. Co-owner of Property Charge, property investor entrepreneur. Okay, so there you go. So to answer the question of what Samuel Leeds teaches, he teaches basically people who are in situations that looks like he is purposefully, tell me if you agree, trying to target people who are low income, close to poverty, and really appealing to their aspirations, right? Of becoming successful in property and going to making significant money and building wealth. This is just from what I'm reading on his content, his presence out there on social media and on the internet. That's what he wants. Those are the people that Samuel Leeds wants, and he wants to take them on this journey to building wealth via the Samuel Leeds crash course and the academy. Okay, so that seems to be what he teaches. Now, let's answer the question, do we need what Samuel Leeds teaches? Do we need it? Well, what do we really need? Do we need what he's teaching? For me, and you might be surprised by this, but it's a yes, right? I mean, I teach basically what Samuel Leeds teaches in a different way, of course. But I teach, hey guys, I think that living in the UK right now, or just living anywhere full stop, is hard, right? Especially in this day and age where wages are not rising, the cost of living is going up, we've got inflation, it's hard, right? So I really do believe in building alternative sources of income, alternative streams of income, and building your wealth outside of your job with a view to living free and independently. And Samuel Leeds is teaching the same thing, but in a different way, okay? We're not the same, but he's teaching in really broad terms, he's teaching a similar message. And there are hundreds, if not thousands of people out there on the internet, in the UK, in America, like all over the globe, right? Teaching a similar message. And just to hit you with some stats, we know that property on average in the UK doubles roughly every 15 years. So it has done that since the World War. And also when we look at affordability of property, now this might blow your mind, but the affordability of property for just our parents, I'm talking just one generation ago, when they were our age buying properties, the average property was 3.5 times their salary in the mid-90s. Now you fast forward just one generation to us, it's approaching 9 times.
Jesus Christ.
The average property is approaching 9 times the average person's salary. That is insane, okay? That is insane. Cost of living is a joke, affordability is a joke. Regular people need alternative, affordable ways to participate in property, but also to build alternative incomes, to build wealth, and to live well. We all want to live well, okay? So for me, it's a yes, we do need what Samuel Leeds teaches. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So that's a what, that's a do we need it. Lastly, how does Samuel Leeds teach what he teaches? What are his methods? Now this is really where all the controversy lays, right? And it's subjective, right? Because you've got people, and I'm going to say this up front, you've got people who've gone on Samuel Leeds' course and they've paid tens of thousands of pounds and come away from it saying, look, life-changing, right? Changed my life. Best decision I've ever made. And you can see a lot of those types of interviews on his content, on his socials, especially on his YouTube. Then you've got other people who have a different story, right? You've got the documentaries on TV that follow some really sad stories about people who have unalived themselves because of the financial situation that the cost of these courses has put them in, and the stress of trying to pursue these strategies and these goals set out by this crash course. That's a really extreme, darker end, right, of this. And if we just look on the wider internet in different places, and this is, you know, other people who've put this on the internet, obviously not myself, but you go in places like Property Tribes. Now I know that the owner of Property Tribes, Vanessa Warwick, and Samuel Leeds have some kind of arch enemy level, long-standing beef. I mean, they really do not like each other. For anybody who knows who, or the backstory between Vanessa Warwick and Samuel Leeds, it's pretty acrimonious. But nevertheless, Property Tribes is a forum with thousands of property investors, and there is a lot of people who have come to this forum with really bad stories about their experiences with Samuel Leeds. I mean, there's even, I think there's a thread about a court case involving Samuel Leeds. There are a lot of complaints on Property Tribes about him that, you know, landlords and I guess normal people have shared on here. I mean, when you type in Samuel Leeds controversy on Google, there's a lot out there. So let's look at this one by The Guardian. Property investor accused of shutting down criticism over £10,000 courses. So this is actually related to a former army veteran who unalived himself after paying £13,000 for training with Samuel Leeds. And it's talking about a letter sent to the sister of the deceased, and quite a lot of acrimony surrounding that. Well, you got the Telegraph. This is a serious paper. Exclusive investigation, the property guru, quotation marks, shade, leading people into debt in pursuit of financial freedom. So, you know, this leads back to those scam accusations that are really common about him. High pressure sales tactics, charging extortionate amounts of money for his courses, and leading people into debt in pursuit of a financial freedom dream. Got The Economist, you know, another serious paper. TikTok gurus made property investing look easy. I lost thousands. So this is You know, another account of somebody who's lost thousands mentions him by name. Samuel Leeds has retooled an old sales pitch for the age of influencers. No amount of controversy seems to dent it. So he's talking about a young student, again, who's been lured in by his YouTube content and ended up losing thousands. I mean, these are serious papers. It's not like the Sun or the Mirror, you know. It's a Telegraph, it's the Guardian, it's the Economist. Then you've got the number one crowd that you don't want to be on the wrong side of. It's the Mumsnet, okay? You know, mums have started, they like to start a thread to discuss Samuel Leeds, the property investor. I've been watching his YouTube videos for a few years and read a couple of his books. Shares knowledge about property. He has lots of students who go on to have quite big success. Just wondering if anybody else follows this guy and your thoughts on him and the advice that he shares. Anyone been on any of his crash courses? So these are normal people, you know. If someone has a YouTube channel on investing, it means they aren't making enough money from investing and need to make it from advertising instead. I guess that includes me. Property is not a great investment and not suitable for most people. I mean, this person doesn't really know what they're talking about. Somebody else has posted that unfortunate story about the veteran who unalived himself. Why don't you send him £10,000 and let us know how it all goes? Yeah, that was it. The BBC investigation into him. Yeah, I mean, it's not good. One more place. Let's look at one more place. LinkedIn. Samuel Leeds, the Devil's in Detail. I watched the investigation last night. Watched it twice today. No surprise that it's about Samuel Leeds and his academy. Heartbroken. Okay, it talks about the soldier again that unalived himself. This person here is calling him brash, loud, gobby, and totally in your face. And that's exactly why he is so successful. Okay, so I've got to be fair and say the obvious. Obviously, this is what it says on the internet, right? So I have not been on any of Samuel Leeds' courses. I haven't paid for any of his products. So I can't vouch for this and say, yeah, you know, what they're saying is true. I can vouch for that. I co-sign that. But, you know, these are journalists for highly reputable papers and publications in the UK. And, you know, usually journalists don't publish something unless they've done their due diligence and they're confident that they're not defaming someone, that they're not going to be sued, etc., etc. And these articles are still all out there to this day. So when we're asking the question of how he teaches, Samuel Leeds teaches what he teaches and what his methods are, we can potentially say that he uses high pressure sales tactics. We can potentially say that the content that he gives, the training that he gives on the crash courses, etc., is overpriced. We can potentially say, based on what we've seen, that he targets intentionally, and we've seen on his social medias in particular, that he targets people who are low income, who are in debt, and he's selling them courses at tens of thousands of pounds. Is there integrity in that? Is that ethical? Me personally, I'm going to say no, okay? I don't think that's ethical and I don't think there's integrity in that. I think he's selling people a message and a strategy that could benefit them, but I think it's overpriced. I don't know about the quality of it. I haven't been on it, but based on what people are saying, or some people are saying, the quality is not there. And it seems to be more pushed than offered. And in an attempt to provide a balanced opinion on Samuel Leeds and his crash course and his academy and his mentoring message, yes, people do need it. The method, no, I don't think it's the right one. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts and opinions on this, if you agree or if you disagree, okay? I'm trying to be balanced here. Thanks as always for supporting the channel. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.